darkness. The traveler may have
What's up guys, my name's Timbo and welcome back to the channel. It's that time of the year again, plus like a month or two, as a new expansion for Destiny 2 has recently been released. In the years past, I've taken the time to break down the story and ending for you guys, and this year is going to be no different. The story of Beyond Light is a lot more self-explanatory than last year, but there's still a few details in there that can be confusing to some, as well as a lot of foreshadowing of what's to come. I'm gonna try to go through this as quickly as possible, while ensuring I still provide the most essential information. Mostly because I somehow managed to get a PS5 and just really want to play more Miles Morales. I'll tell you, that PS5 sure is thick, but man, can she game. Frickin' 4K 60 FPS HDR? I'm in love. I feel like people usually expect me to trash the story of Destiny every year, and while Beyond Light follows the same formula Bungie has been using for years now and has a slightly anticlimactic ending in my opinion, the story this time around is actually pretty dang good. The expansion as a whole outside of the campaign is amazing. I think Destiny 2 these days is a legitimately really great game. The art and music is astounding as usual, the gameplay is as satisfying as ever, the lore is interesting and well integrated, and progression feels rewarding and satisfying. And of course, there's plenty more story to come in the following quests and the upcoming raid. If you'd like a recap of everything that's happened up until this point in the story, follow the link in the description or click on the card showing up in the top right of your screen to watch a video I made going over the entire narrative of Destiny 2 thus far. That will serve as a good part 1 to this video of sorts. I'll continue to share more thoughts on the story as I walk you through it as I see fit, but without further ado, let's get into it. Beyond Light begins with the first of several really well done artistic cutscenes. I don't know about you, but I especially like the constant contact in Destiny 2 servers prompt. Granted, I'm not the best at coding, but Bungie might want to consider adding this script into their game. Just saying. Zavala narrates how the planets Io, Mars, Mercury, and Titan have disappeared from the solar system. This being done because the storage space in the galaxy, aka my hard drive, ran out of room. Just kidding, it was the darkness. We then get to see Variks on Europa, which I still cannot say without thinking of the Greek screaming, Opa! And now I'm thinking about Oprah. Europa is a new location for Destiny 2, but if you're a Destiny OG, then you probably remember seeing the Europa concept art that came out before Destiny 1's release in 2014. Variks, the one responsible for the outbreak at the Prison of Elders, sends out a distress signal. The Stranger shows up in this scene as well, but doesn't really do anything just yet. Guardians were sent out on patrols by the Vanguard to investigate the spreading darkness problem. Your Guardian is seen on Europa, which was the location the darkness invited you to during the season of arrivals. You hear Variks' distress call, track its location, shoot some aliens in the face, die because I suck at this game, and come across Variks being held hostage by Eramis. I'm gonna give some info on Eramis, but I was wondering if you guys would be interested in a new video series where we go in depth on different Destiny characters, specifically some of the villains that we don't get a ton of backstory on. I'm gonna post a poll in the community tab on my channel, and you can vote there for what you want to see. Although it doesn't look too good for Variks, you fight through some more Fallen, including a few new enemies, and eventually free him from his icy little prison there. Variks becomes this year's quest vendor guy, which isn't anything new for Destiny, other than the fact that he clicks all the dang time. Variks sends you on your way to go and kill Eramis, which proves to be an absolutely awful idea, as you're no match for her stasis powers. Eramis, the ship stealer, has been named the new Kell of Kells. Congratulations on the promotion, Eramis. Having brought several houses of the Fallen together as the House of Salvation. A new house formed to fight against those who are protected by the Traveler, or the Great Machine, as the Elixni call it. If you were unaware of this, before the Guardians approached the Traveler on Mars, it actually belonged to the Fallen. The Fallen, or Elixni as they like to be called, named the Traveler the Great Machine. However, it eventually left their system during an event similar to humanity's collapse, called the Whirlwind. All conflicts between the Elixni and humanity are because they're trying to get the Traveler back to prevent their race from going extinct, hence why people now call them the Fallen. They're literally a fallen race. So in a way, you can think of the Traveler as the Fallen's ex. a true love story. Eramis is all pissed at this way of thinking and now wants to destroy anyone who is protected by the Traveler. And she's doing so through the power Stasis, which are abilities granted to her by the darkness. After escaping the clutches of Eramis, your guardian is contacted by the darkness through Ghost. And once again, they are inviting you over for a nice candlelit dinner. So you head on over to a remote location overlooking a pyramid ship, because why the heck not? On your way there, we get to see the second staple of a Destiny expansion, that being an awesome pre-rendered cutscene full of characters looking more awesome than you ever could, and a battle the player would normally be taking place in if this wasn't an RPG where every player is an interchangeable guardian. The characters include Eris, the Drifter, and after all these years, the Exo Stranger. The Stranger hasn't been seen since the original Destiny campaign from 6 years ago. For many years, people assumed that she was never going to return, having largely been a part of a scrapped story. This was thought of to be true, especially after Bungie themselves said her story was over with. But I guess they're all a bunch of liars, because here she is. While she starts right off where she left by not explaining much, at first she encourages you to accept whatever the darkness is offering you. The Stranger gives you a splinter of darkness which will allow you to wield Stasis, fully knowing that Zavala is gonna be pissed. I'm talking straight P-I-S-T, pissed. When he hears about this, you start towards the ziggurat and frickin' A. You attune your splinter and you guessed it, the cycle of gameplay begins. What follows are the same quest steps repeated over and over again while you get closer to Eramis each time, defeating her lieutenants one by one in the process. You're taken to a place called the Nexus and commune with the darkness. This temporarily grants you Stasis abilities, which are amazing, might I add. I had no idea what I was doing, but it looked cool and sounded even cooler, so that's good enough for me. Stasis was so cool that once the mission was over, Gunslinger just wasn't the same. While Varix is slightly unnerved by your new Stasis abilities, considering the fact that he believes Stasis has driven Eramis mad, he urges you to gather information about Phylax, the leader of Eramis's army. In order to gain intel on her whereabouts, you must first challenge her soldiers in the Eventide ruins, which sounds pretty cool, but in reality is just killing 35 random fallen in the open world. After discovering Phylax's location, you take her on mano a mano. Admittedly, you're a little underleveled for this, so she takes the upper hand. But thanks to Destiny 2's save system, let's be real here, I go back to the EDZ and do some things that I am not proud of, but needed to be done. I bet half of you right now are so confused, and the other half know exactly what it is I'm talking about. Also, finishers are underrated. I hope you saw the range on that thing. Either way, you go back and kill Phylax, which in my opinion was the best boss battle in this campaign. You meet back up with the Stranger, who I'm honestly not sure if I can trust at this point. Face it, all three of these characters are shitty as frick. And take the splinter you got from Phylax to the ziggurat. This takes you to Bray Exoscience. Europa is the home of the Exos, so this location in particular was really cool with all the dead Exos lying everywhere. We didn't learn a ton about the Exos here, but I'm assuming more information will come out in the raid and beyond. You go ahead and have some nice communion with the darkness again, destroying Fallen left and right. Varix gives you your next target, Praxis, the Elixir who created the technology that allowed House Salvation to wield darkness. After getting his attention by killing some Vex that he had been running some experiments on, you delve deeper into Bray Exoscience, which I will add again, is an awesome environment. And you go ahead and take him on. He goes down a lot easier than Phylax did, and Eramis is none too pleased with your actions on Europa, so she is forced to make changes to her plans, growing more desperate than ever before. Back at the campsite, you run into Zavala, who does not trust Stasis. However, he recognizes it as the only solution. Zavala tells you that Eramis has headed back to the Cosmodrome in an attempt to recruit some more Fallen to her side. On the Cosmodrome, which also looks incredible by the way, love what you guys have done with the place, you meet up with Hunter Shah Han. Han? Who really cares?
Enjoying the sights?
Not really. Luckily for you, you managed to stop Eramis's plans on the Cosmodrome as well, defeating the Fallen before any more of them can pledge to House Salvation and swarm to Europa. Super pissed now, Eramis decides that she's gonna try to activate a Vex portal on Europa. This mission to try to stop her is done through a strike, and concludes with the Vex portal being activated. One of the few times a Guardian pulls a big oof and lets the bad guys win. After this, you meet back with the Stranger and attune with another Splinter. Varix talks about how he's more depressed than ever, considering the fact that Eramis just unleashed the Vex on her own people. To help Varix, you defend a fallen skiff, allowing it to evacuate some of Varix's allies off Europa. With all that done, it's time to go and confront Eramis. And I'll admit, the boss battle with Eramis was a bit anticlimactic for me. The battle itself was fun, but I wasn't really expecting her to go down so easily. Still, after taking full control over Stasis, you managed to defeat Eramis, locking her in an internal stasis ice thingy. I don't know, she did. That's all that matters. With Eramis out of the way, life can return to normal, right? Well, not exactly. Finally, the Stranger starts telling you a bit about herself. She reveals that she's from another timeline, one in which the darkness won. In those timelines, Guardians used stasis powers, but were mostly corrupted by the abilities and ended up ushering in a second collapse. She believed all hope for Guardians was lost, having tried and failed again and again. But since you seem to now control stasis without being corrupted, it gives her a new hope that the dark future can be prevented. So much hope that she's going to spread the word and start having other Guardians embrace stasis as well. Which on one hand is awesome, but on the other hand, R.I.P. PvP. You commune with the darkness one last time, are teleported into the pyramid, and finally unlock stasis fully for yourself. Finally, back with Zavala at the tower, the plan to defeat the rest of House Salvation and reclaim Europa begins. While that is the end to the campaign portion of Beyond Light, there is much more story to tell. Most notably, the Stranger reveals herself to be Elsie Bray, Anna Bray's sister. This has been suspected since Destiny 2's Warmind expansion, but we finally get confirmation from the Stranger herself here. Completion of the campaign initiates a quest and lore book named The Dark Future that begins to tell the story of the Stranger. Now, I plan on covering this, as well as the following quests and raid in a future video. That's what I've done in every year before this one, so while Beyond Light's campaign didn't have some super vague ending like Shadowkeep did, I'm gonna focus this video on the campaign specifically and continue the story once we know more about the Stranger and how all of this connects to the raid. You can expect those videos to come out soon, so if you don't want to miss them, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The raid releases November 21st, so the video should follow soon after. If you guys join my Discord, maybe we can play it together. I'm currently fireteamless, so that's upsetting. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you found it helpful, informative, or you just enjoy hearing me ramble, leaving me a positive rating is greatly appreciated. For more content like this, guys, make sure to subscribe. I've got lots of content coming soon, including more Destiny, as well as Miles Morales, so stay tuned for that. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.